MAGA Republicans with Trump's corrupt DOJ tried to set what they thought was the perfect perjury trap for special counsel Jack Smith when he walked into the deposition. But special counsel Jack Smith, he knew better. This guy's a career prosecutor at the top of his game. He smoked out that perjury trap. It backfired on Trump. It backfired on the MAGA Republicans, and they were scared to release that video deposition of Jack Smith. So they dumped it the night of New Year's. The MeidasTouch network got our hands on it. We posted it. It since has gotten millions of views. But I want to focus on the perjury trap portion because, as you know, the MAGA Republicans, at Donald Trump's insistence and urging, subpoenaed special counsel Jack Smith. Now, MAGA Republicans like Jim Jordan and James Comer, they were warning Donald Trump, I don't think we actually want to take this guy's deposition. He's smart. He's a top prosecutor. He knows his stuff. It's only going to hurt you. But Trump said, you got to do it. Take his deposition. So they subpoenaed Jack Smith. And Jack Smith says, hey, can we do it in public? You have unlimited time with me. I'll go in front of the Senate. I'll go in front of the House. It could take multiple days. Let's do this in public so there's no doubt about what it is that I'm saying. Republicans said, no. Why would we want to do that? We want to speak on state regime media known as Fox and Newsmax and lie about you, but we don't actually want to do this in public because they're going to see what it looks like when someone who hasn't passed the bar, like Jim Jordan, who leads the Judiciary Committee, tries to cross-examine a top federal prosecutor like Jack Smith on these issues. They didn't want those optics. They tried to do it in secret, number one. But then as Jack Smith shows up, he gets a letter an hour before he shows up. Just think about that. From the DOJ, you cannot talk at all about anything relating to volume 2 of your report that Judge Eileen Cannon is not making public. Volume 2 is the Mar-a-Lago document case alleging that Donald Trump stole classified information, including potentially nuclear secrets and other top national security information. And they said, if it's already public, you can talk about it. But if it's not public, you can't talk about it. So Jack Smith's like, it's going to be a little bit hard to differentiate what you consider public versus not public. Y'all subpoenaed me to show up, so I'm going to get ostensibly asked questions about it. So I'm going to have to make judgment calls about what it is. So Jack Smith's like, why don't we come to an arrangement? And Jack Smith, through his lawyer, can I agree to say X, Y, and Z? Department of Justice says, we're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you what you can say or what you can't say, but we'll evaluate it later. Special counsel Jack Smith says, well, you know, you've sent your lawyers to go and speak with Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted sex traffickers, and Todd Blanche is signing his name on random pleadings. So if he can do that, Jack Smith didn't say it exactly the way I'm saying it, but this was the implication. Why don't you send one DOJ lawyer to show up at my deposition? Have that DOJ lawyer be present. And if you think a question infringes on what you're saying that Judge Eileen Cannon is not letting me talk about, and which you as the DOJ are refusing to let me speak about, a DOJ lawyer can step in on your behalf and say, we're not going to let him answer that question. The DOJ refuses to send a DOJ lawyer to be there to do that. So just want to let you think about this, right? An hour before Jack Smith shows up, and you know the DOJ and Trump are coordinating all of this with Jim Jordan and James Comer and the MAGA Republicans in Congress. The MAGA Republicans subpoenaed Jack Smith to show up. Jack Smith says, can I do it in public? Nope, we're doing it in private on a video deposition in private. Okay, so I'm going to answer questions. Nope, you can't answer all of the questions. Jack Smith's like, so you're subpoenaing me to speak, but then I can't answer the questions? Exactly. So what questions can I answer? We're not telling you. You want to give me guidance? No. Oh, okay, it's a bit odd. I mean, that's what's going on. So again, I don't care what political party you're from. You should look at what I just explained to you and be like, that's not cool. Like, that's not right. So let me show you the video as Jack Smith and his lawyer call it out and they want the DOJ letter to be put into the record. There's about 5 to 10 minutes more of this than what I'm going to show you. I'm just going to show you a small clip here, but Jack Smith's lawyer does a meticulous job laying out the timeline, calling out the perjury trap. Watch this. Let's play it.
According to the Justice Department, discussion of Volume 2 of the Special Counsel's report and any information or conclusions in Volume 2 or in drafts thereof is specifically prohibited by Judge Cannon's January 21st, 2025 order. This morning, just over an hour ago, the Department of Justice sent us an email affirming its view that Judge Cannon's order applies to Mr. Smith and that it precludes him from disclosing any non-public information that may be contained in Volume 2, including, but not limited to, interview transcripts, search warrant materials, business records, toll records, video footage, records obtained by grand jury subpoenas, attorney-client communications, and potential Rule 404B evidence. This restriction significantly limits Mr. Smith's ability to discuss the classified documents case. Nevertheless, Mr. Smith is committed to doing his best to answering questions consistent with the department's guidance. And I asked that email from the Department of Justice that was sent earlier this morning be made part of the record.
You know, I can't read minds, but Jack Smith, is sitting there saying, y'all sent me here and now you don't want to hear the truth. That's what you're doing. You sent me here and now you're blocking what I can say. Okay. I know what you're doing. Let's bring in Harry Littman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, the Talking Feds podcast, and the Talking Feds Substack. Harry, it was clearly a trap to try to go after Jack Smith. Jack Smith caught it. Jack Smith's testimony was powerful and compelling, and I think the GOP were right to try to warn Trump, you don't want this guy's depo. They're wrong to do this from a principle and values perspective, but I think their worst fears were realized when Jack Smith very calmly and confidently went through the facts. But talk about the perjury trap first, then your overall feelings here, Harry.
Yeah, and so really let's start there. These are malicious bastards who this is not obviously about keeping him from revealing information. That 1-2 punch that you just detailed, Ben, you must not do any of these things. Oh, but we're not going to tell you what you can do and why. There's only one possible reason. It's not exactly a perjury trap. It's like some kind of ethics trap. And they want to say, aha, after the testimony. And it's true. They didn't lay a glove on him. And he was so understated, quiet, like a by the book prosecutor. And you're right. He outmatched them at every answer. But man, let's not forget how perilous the waters they put him in were, because who's going to decide to imagine that by a bare majority, the Republican House or Jim Jordan's cronies want to refer him for something, and they do it. And it then goes to Pam Bondi or to, then it's her and their decision only whether or not to either try to sanction him for violating DOJ rules that they wouldn't tell him about in the first place, or even, as you say, some kind of perjury trap. And the idea that they wouldn't give, he said, okay, I hear your interest, so tell me that's what they cared about. That's what they would have tried to protect. Now, in the event, I actually, I know many of the Minus Minded listen to all 8 hours. I can't say I've done that, but I listened to a lot. And as predicted, he was meticulous, understated in classic kind of just the facts prosecutor kind of guise. They did not lay a glove on him, even about Volume 2. Oh, and by the way, then the part of the whole kind of trap they're laying is Judge Cannon's order applies. Did you hear the date of that order? January 2025, a year ago. What's been happening with that order for a year? Nothing whatsoever. She just simply put the order in and has waited a year. Now, finally, she said what she could have said a week later. Okay, I can't keep it bottled up any longer. However, Trump himself as an amicus, because the case is dismissed against him, as we know, and the two co-defendants can now bring in arguments why it should still stay under wraps. That itself, a side point here, but it's an outrage. There's no interest on their parts, and a lot of interest on the part of the people of the United States in knowing what happened for these cases that won't go forward because of the happenstance of his election. But it's just been under wraps for a year for no good reason. They cite it, and then most revealingly, we will not tell you. You're so right that he handled it with perfect aplomb, and it was the very quiet of it. Very much the prosecutor's credo of under promise and over deliver. Every sentence, this guy was totally prepared, and he was so quiet. They several times had to ask him to raise his voice. That was his style here. So he completely tied them in knots. But I just want to say, one little slip here or there, they could have really come down on him, and they would have had on the other side of it the DOJ as their allies, having nothing to do with the DOJ's interests, but just looking to screw him. He faced the question straight out, and I'm sure you heard that in the 8 hours. Do you think he's going to? I have no doubt he would like to enact some political retribution about me. He seemed unconcerned about it, but obviously aware of it. So it wasn't such even with his skill and his experience and the absence of same by his interlocutors on the other side, it would have just taken a little slip. He didn't make it, and he really came through. And now the question's going to be, will there be, as the minority wants to have, like Jamie Raskin, some kind of public presentation, as he's been asking for, where he can really drive home, as he did here. He was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. There was every investigative step, including the phone records of the members of Congress, which they completely misunderstood. Absolutely by the book. The guy's got it covered. And the headline here was, or one of the headlines, he believes that Trump would have been convicted with evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, as if that's some big falling from the sky conclusion. Those are the principles of federal prosecution. You cannot bring a case unless you believe it, or that used to be true, because now we see case after case where give me an effing break. No way the Department of Justice believes it's likely beyond a reasonable doubt they'll convict Comey or Tish James or all the people who they couldn't even get true bills about. So that confidence is nothing more than the application of federal principles and protection against defendants like Donald Trump, that you not just do it either for nasty reasons or just, we'll roll the dice, see what happens. You must have developed evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, and you must really believe you're going to get a conviction. And he did it quietly and just very calmly. Never lost his cool, from cool as a cucumber all the way through, understated. He foiled them completely. And yeah, no big surprise that this comes out at what was it, 5:00 on New Year's Eve.
Well, it also now lives forever on the MeidasTouch YouTube channel, and anybody can watch it. And the way we clipped it and had it presented, it was like a New Year's special. And so you can't do those dumps anymore on New Year's and think it's not going to be viewed. And, I expect both our highlight video as well as the full 8 hours really to continue to grow as a historical record for years and years to come. Everybody, thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe to Harry Litman's YouTube channel. It's called Talking Feds. Subscribe to Harry Litman's Substack, Talking Feds, and wherever you listen to audio podcasts, subscribe to the Talking Feds audio podcast. Thanks, Harry.
Hey, thank you, Ben.
New Meidas merch. Head to store.meidastouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.meidastouch.com.